ain't got nobody for interactive either.
Hmm.
So we don't have interactive either because you need to see the comments on here.
Maria, you have to read the comments if you see something good.
So it'll come up.
Trying to set up on YouTube or Facebook.
Music on get you down on Facebook.
Well, T-Rail probably won't. That's why I just use it.
But you don't know how you post it, but you put it on YouTube, so people going over there and we're not there.
Winnie said, "What's up, y'all?"
What's going on, Winnie?
What's up, Winnie?
Can't get your water.
No.
Cold as no.
I'm giving Maurice a hard time. Winnie, you did anything tonight?
She said, "Girl, no, I cleaned."
Definitely need to do that.
Did you put it in the group?
Maddie put it in the group earlier, thank you. Did you text earlier? For the shitty one.
Who?
Tiki. Hope y'all had a good day. I'm sitting here just letting folks get in the room just a little bit.
You messaging her. Just to let you know we are on.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
That's my dad.
Said Simply Models.
What's going on? Peace and love. I ain't going.
8. But I can't see who. Unless they comment.
You should see the comments.
I can't see who they are unless they comment.
Yeah, YouTube is different from Facebook. You can't see folks and they don't have an actual account set up.
Okay.
9:30.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and just run on into the segment. I want to thank everybody for coming on out and hanging out with us on YouTube. World Steppers Inc. Shani.
That's me.
Unique. That's me. We're just gonna start this off by generally just answering some questions that most people have when they come into the dance, or if they've been in the dance for a while. We're just going to just answer some questions. And sometimes people be afraid to ask these questions. Sometimes people just be afraid to try to just get some type of idea of what's going on in the community because they're new, so they don't want to ask, or they don't want to seem like they are new to the dance. So,
And I think we also may be talking about some questions that folks have in general about the dance if you're not new. Not to provide another space for divisiveness, but just as a conversation piece from two folks who really love this dance and who are invested in trying to see the community grow in positive ways. So we encourage you to add your comments. This is something we're gonna do here and there, everywhere, like pop-up style. So if you got a question, make certain that you leave it on the page. If we don't get to it tonight, we'll definitely get to it the next time. But we want to engage you in building and figuring out what is this Chicago stepping stuff.
also, WSI is a part of, which is what I said is the new movement. So we need to grow the culture of the dance, and not just unilaterally. So we want to make sure that we are sharing the dance with other people. We want to make sure that we're venturing out and inviting people to the dance that we love. So if you love the dance, share it with other people. We are definitely trying to push it forward here in Atlanta. We're looking for new faces, new music. So be sure to, again, follow us as we'll be doing a lot of different things this year, 2023, especially 50 Shades of Fade to Black. That's right, October.
Shameless plug.
50 Shades of Shade to Black. That's right, we're doing it again, Fade to Black this October. My date's the 19th to the 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. But follow us on YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to this video. You can go onto the YouTube page, see other videos. You can see the episodes of the details, which will be coming more this summer. I'll jump back into the details and answer some more questions pertaining to that as well. So let's get right into it. Our beautiful host Maria is going to ask some questions, and we're going to answer some of these questions. And if you guys have questions, please post them on the page. If we don't get to your question now, we'll try to make sure we answer them in the comments or have them on the next segment of Q&A with Shani and Maurice.
Okay. Gia said hello to both of you.
Hey,
What
Gina.
up, G?
All right, first question. Are women outpacing the men in the dance, and why?
So that's an easy answer for me. Absolutely 1000% yes.
Are women outpacing the men in this dance? If we're specifically talking about numbers, yes. If we're talking about quality of the dance, they would be a little bit ahead still in quality of the dance. But that is only because, they're in the beginning instructions of the dance and the newness of the dance, we do not have an influx of enough men. We are always outnumbered, which is why I push for share. Because we need more men, and not only do we need more men, we need more young men and women in the dance so that we can keep the culture moving.
Can we also add that there's also a lack of continuity in staying with the dance when guys do come? I think I've been in the community 11 years. Don't hold me to that date. It might be 10, but I think it's 11. And I have seen more men that started with me no longer dancing than continuing to dance or either stagnant in their dance.
That's a multi-part answer, right? So I feel like I can give you a couple answers, but I feel like that's a long topic of multiple issues. So we can kind of get into a few of those. Let's just address like the surface level ones. So the number one for me in men not staying with the dance is because in most environments, it's a harder learn for them.
Okay.
You know, they have to lead the dance, they have to have an understanding of the dance, you have to have your rhythm, you know, then you have to be able to handle multiple, you know, types of personalities and women when you are here dancing. It can be overwhelming for a passive person to a certain degree. And I was speaking with a young lady earlier, and your why for the men might just be, hey, I just come out to have a good time, come out here to be, and now I come in the room, I feel this pressure. I feel like I gotta dance with so many women, they looking for me, you might not be ready for that. It can seem a bit overwhelming at times. And then when you're in a learning environment, you're trying to pick up all these different things so fast and be able to implement them. And then again, you're in a room full of women and it's just two men. You know, that could be a challenge.
Working a lot. And I have heard, you know, in conversations that I might be a part of in my student space when I was really new and didn't understand the culture of Chicago stepping, men also get intimidated by having the pressure of like being what the woman wants at that moment, and that's some space sometimes that's a little bit challenging for guys, especially when we don't give a lot of positive feedback. I'm gonna tell on myself, I don't have a positive feedback face, but that does not mean that y'all not doing great things. It's just not something that I do on a regular basis, to just smile at everybody. Like, I get that that can be intimidating, but I've also heard that some guys just feel uncomfortable, period, because the learning environment is dominated by women as opposed to men. And they don't really feel that they get a nurturing space from guys. It's more competition, and that doesn't feel like a space that they want to stay in.
Right. And typically I would say, you know, as the instructor, oftentimes I feel like it's best that men and women start off learning in separate environments. Because in most cases as men, you know, you in front of women, so you don't want to necessarily be reprimanded. You don't want to necessarily be made to feel as if you're not learning at a fast enough pace. You don't also want to be made to feel as if though you don't know anything. You know, it's a dance, you may be new at it, but in front of women, that can be sometimes misplaced. So oftentimes in the beginning, I try to separate the women and the men so that they don't feel like they're being watched by women, and if they do something wrong, the women ain't gonna be looking at them a certain way, or they don't know. Try to keep that at bay as best you can in the beginning.
So I'm gonna ask a hard question because I feel like all those dynamics are consistent for people, period. I think that's a human dynamic. But there were more men, I'm gonna say seemingly from my perspective, and I'm a baby in the dance compared to you and many other people who've been in the dance for a lot longer. But I feel like there were more men in generations before my iteration in the dance, and even moving forward, there are less men behind me. So if that's a consistent thing, like women have always outnumbered men. Men have always struggled with learning both sides. There's a lot of pressure to try to keep up with the learning pace. How was it that you all had so many guys stick with the dance for as long as you did?
The environment was much more fun. So when, you know, and I'm people such as myself, I would say like me, Jerry, Tickman, even though Herc was a little older, he still was in that time frame. Donnie Davis, you know, we came in that in between, what I would say, you know, an older generation and in between a younger generation. And things have changed across the board. I mean, just from 2 years ago, then after the pandemic, things have changed. But when we was coming up, like, although it's more places now to dance worldwide than it was before. When we was coming up in Chicago, like we could go out every night. So, you know, you had your people you went out with. It was fun. When you was learning how to dance, you going from one place to the next to the next. So a lot of these issues that are in class environments now are because class environments are now more so club environments. You're not going out to all these places because there's not a lot of places to go out, especially in other cities. So now you can confine to, hey, let's go to the class, and that class is 30 people, a bunch of women, a few men. You're trying to have a good time there, and that's as far as it's going. That's why you oftentimes get that where if all these people teaching, where are these people at? They ain't never out. That's because they just going to the social aspect of the class. That might be their release for the day. You know, that might be as far as they're going to continue, you know, the dance. And if they do come out, it's for a birthday party or something, a special occasion. So over the years, the sharing of this dance has dwindled. So we don't reach masses. Even like when you look at competition level as far as like the steppers contest, like when it was 20,000 back in the day, it's 4,000. You know, so we're not reaching the mass of men like we were back in the day. And again, the level of fun that we were having enticed women and men. Let's just go do this. It's fun. We're having a great time. Whereas now it seems more cliquish, it's more work, it's more, you know, you don't want to go over here and necessarily hang with these people because it's something that you don't like about it. I just go to this class, or maybe I won't go to this class, and that's what's becoming an environment. Which again, and I'm going to keep referencing, which is the reason why here in Atlanta, that's why we do what we do. That's why wsi-worldsteppersinc is here to do what we do. We're here to share the dance across the board. And if we don't do that, and this is a message I've been having these conversations over the last year with multiple people. If we don't share the dance, push the dance forward, right? And we keep holding on to, oh, it's the original style of the dance, and we gotta keep the culture of the dance. You can't keep a culture when the people are dying and there are no new people coming into the dance. The culture is only going to live as far as the people that are carrying the culture on. So if we don't keep getting an influx of new people, as we saw through COVID, we had so many loved ones that are no longer here. So if we're going to hold on to it and not share it because everybody is not doing it the way you think they should do it, or are we going to share it and keep sharing it and then hope that, hey, sooner or later, you know, everybody can get what they need cultural-wise, originality-wise, and still push the dance forward. There has to be some balance.
No, I agree. I'm all for balance because I think that there's a little bit of a double-edged sword, right? I have been a part of the community long enough to know, like, you gotta have fun. That's half the reason why you came to do this anyway. At least it was for me. I was sitting in a club and saw, I think it was a party that was actually for Miss Mary's birthday back in 2011 or 2012-ish. And it just looked like everybody was enjoying themselves. And I can remember when I started learning, the novelty of it is what really made me gravitate towards learning something new. But I can also recall a space where I felt like I wanted to learn more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be out here like the folks on YouTube. And we weren't doing those things in class. So I got a little complacent and I got bored, I'm gonna be honest. I remember when I first started helping Manetta Fraser teach in Orlando, and we had conversations about this same thing, like how do you keep students engaged? How do you keep them wanting to come to class? How do you keep them wanting to learn and grow? And it's a balance between, you need to have fundamentals, you can't get away from that, but you also got to give people a little bit of a breath to feel like they're doing something that attracted them to the dance in the beginning. I wonder if sometimes we have become so, I'm gonna say, stuck on what's right versus what's wrong, and that conversation has killed the spirit of the dance.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, I feel like the most important thing right now is for us to figure it out quickly. Um, I can use myself as a, you know, I guess as a subject piece. I'm very passionate about things, you know, so sometimes I'm more hard than other people. Um, but I also believe in creativity. And I feel as though if you're going to teach something and you don't leave room for creativity, then basically all you have is a replication of yourself.
Yeah.
And we need some versatility out there. But again, you still want to come out and have a good time, whether it be class or to an event. So we have to find some balance, we have to find some medium, but we have to share the dance. To me, there's no point in going to an event and they're the same people, and every month you go to the same event, you see the same people, and you solicit or advertise or market to the same
The
people.
same group of people.
I don't get that, because if you're gonna you shouldn't have to market to them. Like, I don't market most of the time unless I'm going to a new environment, because most of those people are coming anyway. You need new people. So if we all came to the party and there's 100 of us, the next time we come to the party, it should at least be 200. Because you should say, hey, come with me to this party. You know, don't take it upon yourself to say, I don't think they're going to like it because I ain't never heard of them. You don't know what people going to like.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's something you like, ain't no different than if you bought some shoes, say, oh, I like them. You don't know until either they make a comment about it or you ask, do you like them?
Where is he? Yeah.
So make the dance the same way. Hey, I'm going to this set. You want to go with me? You know, go hang out. If they don't like it, then they don't like it. Now you know, okay, this ain't for them. But it could be.
What do you say to those people who, again, and I might be doubling back because I'm in this group too. Well, I don't want to invite people to come out because it looked like, you know, what we doing is boring. I think one of the questions that we talked about earlier was, it's hard to get people to engage in the community because they don't understand what it is we're doing, and from a distance it don't look exciting. Maybe because I'm gonna call myself a culprit. I'm not looking like I'm enjoying the dance while I'm out there. Some people legitimately on the sidelines griping because maybe they dance with somebody who's still learning and they're doing a lot of things that don't feel good in the dance, which makes it a little less enjoyable. So how do you get people who are in the culture, in the dance, to stay connected, to invite their friends if they're a little bit, you know, I'm gonna say jaded, they're not enjoying themselves anymore?
So for me, that's a hard stop for me. So if you coming out every month, there's something about it you like, or past deadline, but if you keep coming out, it has to be something there that you like. So if it's about the dance and the culture and sharing, then you need to find what that like is, and that's what you utilize to invite. But again, that's subject to what you think. As with anything else, if you never mention it, you don't give them an opportunity to say yay or nay. And that's just like if we going out every month, and even though you don't like it, we still going out every month, and your girlfriend know you going out every month, but you never asked her to come, she might be saying, well, she never asked me, so I ain't going to impose. And could have been just waiting for anybody, but you don't know. And the men are definitely like that when it comes to women. Sometimes they're gonna be like, man, she said she's going to this thing, but she'll never
Invite me to come.
Right. I don't know if she's going to meet somebody. I don't know. They don't know. They definitely ain't going, and they hear y'all talking, they ain't gonna step in and be like, hey, I wanna come where you at. Very few men gonna do that.
Right.
So when it comes to women, you know, you guys will go together more often as men do.
Yeah.
We'll go alone.
Girls
But
night
that's it.
out.
Right. You know, so we have to just go ahead and just invite people. We have to have them take a chance. You have to take a chance that they could possibly be like, okay, yeah, cool, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Do we have any questions or anything? From
I
people?
didn't catch her name, and I don't know the relevancy of it because I don't know what this is. But she says, "Do you guys like Naruto?
Naruto.
Naruto, Naruto, Naruto."
I don't
And I
think
can't
know
get
what
back
that
to the
is.
comments. I don't know what it is.
I believe Naruto is an anime character.
Okay.
if my kids and counsel on keeping me up on the culture, I believe that's an anime character.
I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure about that.
All right. All right, Mom. I hope that was your answer. Y'all ready for the next one?
What's the time frame? What time?
It's 9:52. We had another question, but it won't stay up on the screen, so I can't repeat it. I think it's somebody just saying hello though. All right, next question. Okay. Ravi, we'll see. Why aren't there more next level men in the community, and what can we do to change that?
That's a question that's very, very controversial.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from the question. So let me just say it like this. I've been teaching this dance since '95. Men, and I'm going to speak very general, men generally, we want to get in and get it right in and there. So we'll skip over the foundations to get to the pizzazz of it all. And then by the time we get to the pizzazz of it all, then we realize, dang, we need this, that, and the other. Now it's hard to reel on back to, let me start back over. But let me go back and take away some of these things. Let me just keep going from where I'm at. And just take a chance on it, right? Oftentimes I deal with people who either have been dancing for a long time or have been competing. And again, I'll go back to me, they know that I'm very passionate, I'm very specific about the dance. Then they come to me and, hey, let me just do this. But you're not going to get a vast number of men to do that. They'd rather be like, man, I'm dancing good enough to get the dances that I'm getting.
So that's all I want.
I just try to keep picking it up on the way. Not understanding that if you want to get to a Drew level, a Tick level, a Dre level, like, you gotta have all those little intricate pieces that you're skipping over now. And now it's frustrated. Now you're frustrated because now when you want to dance with these very, very great dancers, you feel like you're lacking something. And you feel like you can't just grasp why you can't pick certain things up and why you can't. But it's those little things which goes back to starting off in the originality of the dance, learning the culture, learning the little ins and outs, learning the rhythm and timing, getting all these things in the beginning and gradually progressing to that point instead of skipping them, then trying to go back and remove this, and this to add this, and this. So you end up with a conglomerate of men that are pretty good, but not elite.
They're not elite, they're not great.
And now, to get to be that elite, now you gotta put some work in you. And you ain't got that much time.
Or you got, I'm gonna say conflict in your time, because we all adults, we got jobs, we
Right.
have kids, we have parents that we helping to take care of.
And it might just not be that serious.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask if it were incentivized, and this is something that's not my idea, so I'm not going to take credit for it, but I'm also not gonna put on blast the person who actually shared it with me. Do you think that if this were a category in the contest where Pete incentivized like one male teacher, one male student groomed for the whole year to see who had the better outcomes. Not a student who's been in the community. You know, sometimes we get a little fuzzy. I'm gonna be honest, I'm speaking for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else. We get a little fuzzy on those beginner rules. Some folks who've been in the contest, I know they're not like true to the community. They've been in the dance maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe 3, but they haven't been around. They had time where they left and came back. So if there was, fresh out of the box, you went to the street and found Joe Schmo, and you groomed him for a year. Let's say you, Tick, Dre, Royce, Doc, you know, I'm missing some folks and charge my head, not my heart, but all y'all get one fresh guy from off the street that you groomed for an entire year. You got the same amount of time like you do on the Dancing with the Stars. You got set number of sessions over the course of the year. That way nobody's unduly like you spent more time with this person or that. Do you think that that might help bring more men into the dance, at least to get to some space where there's fresh face?
No.
No? Why not?
No. You got too many variables in that scenario.
Yeah.
It ain't a closed environment like Dancing with the Stars where you taking them and you got 4 weeks, this is what you use to work with them. We don't have that. Like you said, we got lives, we got this, that, and other. That's a large incentive to take that time away from a person like just specifically for this, and then there's too many uncontrolled environments because this is what's always said. So if you live here in Atlanta, then you got one of the people that live in Chicago, they can go out 7 nights a week.
7 days a week, yeah.
They're not gonna be able to do that here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna just pick everybody from Chicago to do that, and then again, this person might have the weekends off. This person might only have Tuesday and Wednesday off. How are you gonna compare that? They might not have time to go out 3, 4, 5 times a week. This other person might.
Might be.
So that's gonna be a little difficult to do. And all that again is just the subject. Because now who's gonna judge?
Who's gonna judge, right? Which we talk
Who
about all the time.
Who gonna
Who's
say, okay, hey, these are, now what?
Yeah.
You know, because unfortunately integrity is not withheld even amongst instructors. So it's difficult to say who's just gonna say, hey, look, it don't matter to me, let me just tell you, you know, what the truth is. And part of that is part of the excitement too, because you just don't know. I always used to say, hey, it's anybody's night on the night of the contest. You can't say who and what was gonna happen. You can't say what number they're gonna put down. It's anybody's night. So you just gotta do what you gotta do. And as we know, the best dancers don't always win.
always compete. So.
Right. So you know, that's just another way to look at that.
Okay, we got a couple questions. If I can get them to come back up.
Okay, we're gonna give them about give them another 10, 15 minutes, and then we're gonna try to close this out.
I can't get them to come back up. Cindy, can you copy and paste your question back in the comment box for me, please?
If you see the question, you can send me the questions via text message. My phone is sitting behind me.
Star, Desiree, I'm not sure.
TT,
if you guys see the question, send them to Shani. This is an interactive studio.
All right, here we go. All right, Cindy says, I think stepping can be compared to the mindset of a workout. You have to be mentally and physically dedicated. How do we get those we invite to have that drive to commit?
That's not up to you.
Yeah, I think that's an individual space of, desire. I think that we can incentivize people by having, free food and giveaways and all the beautiful women or, all the nice looking men, but a person, an individual coming and choosing to stay, personally, I think has to do with their desire to really be in the dance itself.
And what they have going on.
All right. And then Dosita, my apologies about it. If I didn't pronounce it correctly. She says, Simon wants to know why instructors don't teach dancing in close spaces versus not altering the dance to fit the space. Playing bodyguard should not be a great deal of the dance.
Excellent question, Simon. I learned in a tight, small space because we were always told like the idea is to go to Chicago and be able to dance and not have native Chicagoans be able to notice us as non-Chicago stepping folks. So we learned in tight spaces. It was a lot easier after learning how to dance small to then grow to dance longer. I think that it's a spatial issue in the mind. Sometimes it feels a little bit easier as a teacher to help people learn to take space. But personally for me, it was exceptionally difficult to help some people go from long to small. I don't know about for men. I know that the guys that I dance with that are seasoned, they do talk often about having to play guard, especially behind women from getting knocked over. Sometimes it's just absent-mindedness. I'm gonna be honest. Some people do teach well how to stay in your space. You just get out there and you enjoying yourself, and folks lose control of their space and the dance around them. But I do think that more people need to talk about the etiquette of staying in a 2x2, 4x4. You know, you don't have much space on the dance floor.
So, my take on that, it might be a little different, but in my experience, the space that you're in is controlled by the steps that you take. So, if I asked you, we're just going to take this as an example. So, if you were a 100-meter dash runner, right? And your workout prepared you to run 100 meters, right? And then somebody said, well, I want you to run a 400-meter dash, right? Now you are not prepared for that distance, right?
Yeah.
So as it relates to spacing, shorter steps, longer steps, and all of that, right? So if I said, hey, I need you to make some movements in this dance so that we can have some congruency, the dance to be much more fluent. Now you're having to try to refigure how to make these longer steps and how to get this space to create the flow in the dance. Whereas if we flipped it the opposite way around and you were running the 400 and I said, hey, run this 100, you're already ready to go, right? Now, at that particular point, all you need to do now is to take your steps and shorten them up some. And the reason why I make that point is because when it comes to the dance, when it comes to people that have been dancing for a long time and then they come to me and they want to, like we just talked about, you want to get better now, majority of what I'm doing is taken away. Because I'm sorry, I'm adding.
Okay.
I'm adding because they don't know how to get to this point. They don't know how to move. They don't know how to get around a woman. They don't know how to turn themselves. They don't know how to do that.
So I think those are two different perspectives, which is nice to hear from the lead perspective, but from the follow, to go from long stride to shorter is a lot harder to make adjustment and balance. I can get from the lead perspective, yeah, like men don't move right now, period, enough at all, which is hard to imagine in consideration of Simon's question, because he's saying like teachers are teaching based on how much space they have, how much real estate their class has. So if you got a nice dance studio and all of your students spaced out, everybody taking all of this movement back and forth and all over the place, and then you get into the party, and by and large, even though y'all, I'm sorry, I'm generalizing, a lot of men are not really taking steps. They're striding back and forth. but they're striding back and forth the distance that they practice at class.
Mhm.
And so now you're bumping into the person that's behind you and the people that's on the side of you. So from a lead perspective, I get that explanation. From a follow, it's really, really hard to make a tighter adjustment when you've learned this rotation and you've taken this much space. At least for me it is.
Okay, so now answering the following perspective, because I teach the women's side, so I follow. So, from a follow perspective, we'll have to directly relate that to the type of steps you learn.
Foot placement,
Period.
basics.
Okay? Because, and I was trying not to get into this, because if you teaching 7/8 cross and cross, it's gonna be damn hard.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very hard to shorten up. But I'm gonna give you this one perspective to think about. If you have flow already, and then you need to shorten it up, and the steps that you have allow you to shorten those steps up without taking away the flow, I would much rather be doing that than to be marching in place. Because if you do not have forward progression or movement forward and back, then that means that you have to go up and down. And that means, and so that means that when most people are learning 1, 2, or 7/8, and then across here and across back, there is no flow in that. And anytime you are in one spot and you do not move and you take steps, your body language says up and down. So if that's what you're learning with, then yes, it's very difficult for you to go from long to short.
Because you're doing this like in running.
So that right there in itself is going to put you at a
But y'all,
disposition.
that makes sense.
Girly Girl says hello and she is loving this.
Hey, girly girl, thanks
What's
for
happening?
joining.
Thank you. Hey, remember, like, share, and subscribe, because we need to get people on here to have these conversations so that we can talk about it and we can share it and learn more and come together and grow as a community.
And perhaps even without dance, be
Yes.
able to affect the change of the dance. Because if you visualize on what he just said, if anybody on the live is a runner, if you run, which I did, for real, I ran track for real, you learn not to go up and down, you go horizontal. So, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Girly Girl says she's sharing. Sam C said, what's up, y'all?
What's up?
Cindy
What's up?
says, perhaps that's why I see seasoned leaders on the outside. They tend to make their own space. LOL. And by the way, Lindy says y'all feasting. And how y'all doing?
Whatever.
Big head.
Whatever. Wish you was here. So I think we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. We appreciate everybody for coming on, having a real talk, Q&A with Shani and Maurice. If you have questions, again, put them in the comments. You can always inbox us. You know, if your question isn't answered, if we didn't get a chance to answer your question, if it was a question that somebody else posed and you didn't get, you wanted that question answered, but you didn't get to hear it, just let us know. Whatever, we try to get it in the next segment or answer it personally. You know, I don't have a problem with either of those, but we definitely want to continue this conversation. We're gonna have these conversations whenever we can, when we think of different things that we want to ask and talk about, because ultimately the one common goal that we should all have is grow the community.
Build the dance. Keep the dance going.
Exactly. So that being said, thank you again for watching and tuning in to Q&A with Shani and Unique Maurice. Don't forget, Fade to Black. 50 Shades of Fade to Black birthday celebration October. It's going down in the A. Lindy, you know you coming on down to DJ, so Lindy gonna be on the ones and the twos.
That's my brother. Even though he got a big head.
Cindy said, thanks, y'all. Great info.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
You're welcome.
you for tuning in.
Yeah. And thanks DJ T-Rail for the background music. DJ T-Rail on the
Good
ones and
stuff,
twos
good
background music. We appreciate you. Your channel is off the chain. Other than that, we are good. We appreciate everybody. World Steppers Inc.
See you on the wood.
You know, I don't know how to stop it. Okay.